3, 4, 5. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Rise and Grind Tour. It is the last day of what has been a 3-day spectacle as MBB are preparing for their road and mission to the ball. And what we have witnessed here today, or well, in this last week, is the Rise and Grind American touring side playing against MBB. It has been a heated affair that has been going on, and as you can see, shots were being fired all around, and it has been a spectacle both on from the MBB side, of course, the national representatives, as well as the Rise and Grind touring squad, who've obviously come out here to give our guys the best possible opportunity to prepare themselves for the ball season coming forward. And it is going to be one electrifying game tonight. We obviously witnessed the matchup between the two teams yesterday, and they went pound for pound. And I look forward to what is going to happen today. And stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by Basketball Sheriff. And on your screen right now, you have South Africa's very own giant, this being David Craig, of course, the South African born and raised junior, actually. He had the opportunity to go over to the States, and he went to Tennessee Tech, where he has been playing some basketball over there. And I mean, it's great to see the return of that kind of program initiatives for the young athlete. And of course, we look forward to his contribution. And right now on your screen, you have Robertson Opong, no one who is unfamiliar with the BAL itself. He has played in the BAL. He was playing for City Oilers, if you have at any point in time tracked his record. But that is going to be a very, very dominating contribution to the MBB side, which they have confirmed he will be joining them for that trip to Kigali, of course. So he will be taking one of the foreign national spots on the MBB team. And in the rest of the game, we will be looking to see what is going to come out of that. He will not be playing tonight, as he only landed this week, but today. So we will get to see him over the next couple of days, of course, and once they are in Kigali. And of course, over there we have some additional staff that the MBB have been able to call in to kind of help them in this preparation. He's sitting there speaking to Javon Mooring. And I guess a one-time final look before we start this game at the Rise and Grind side. And one of the very, very dominant athletes being Kevin Mateo, the number 10 point guard for Rise and Grind. He has been a phenomenal athlete here over the last 2 days. What we've witnessed from him isn't about size, it's about heart and about grind and about passion for the game. And he has come out all cylinders going, defensive side, shooting side, athleticism, and he has been quite the force to reckon with when it comes to the Rise and Grind. And I look forward to seeing what he's going to bring on the floor today. And just drawing that up is TJ Jackson, who is another guard playing for Rise and Grind, also athletic shooters, and we look forward again to see what they're going to bring for us today. Yesterday was quite a nail-biting matchup that led to every single quarter being matched up tie game, and of course MBB were able to walk away with that win yesterday in the last minutes of the game. And I think that slight margin of separation is what we're looking to see happen again today. And of course, you know, as locals, we expect MBB to be giving it their all. And of course, the guys who've made it possible for this Rise and Grind team to be here in South Africa on this tour, Coach Chuck as well as Coach Jordan, they are the oil and the machine behind the Rise and Grind side. And of course, they are the Rise and Grind TBT, their team playing in the TBT tournament in America. And they've just taken this program and they've brought together, you know, some grassroots elements as well as athletes from across the US, you know, just to give them this kind of international experience. And if you didn't witness him before, that on the screen right now is DJ Campbell. He's another very dominating force on the Rise and Grind side. And of course, that being Saquon Jameson in the number 35. Big heart, big man, and we look forward to see the Heat. And I know it's a cold night in Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen, but I will be here with you throughout this game, and I'm going to make sure that we are sitting on the edge of our seats and we keeping warm. We are live at the Mandeville Indoor Sports Center, and this game is brought to you by Basketball Sheriff. As we look at what seems to be the starting five on the floor for MBB, I see on the screen there Peter Prinsloo, of course, another South African national treasure. As you know him, he's been to the BAL. He is no one who is unfamiliar with that scene. So he will be, of course, back on the squad, leading the team when they go to Kigali. Just looking at our starters, we've got Javon Mooring, Nino Dim, David Craig, Omar Telemans, and Peter Prinsloo for MBB. And on the Rise and Grind side, we've got DJ Campbell, we've got Kevin Mateo, Saquon Jameson, Kevion Blaylock, and Laydell Elmore going in for jump ball. And that is the start. A little shaky there on the jump ball, but of course, with that kind of height, you sometimes don't even know how high you should be putting it. MBB walk away with the first possession, and we're gonna see what they've got to start off this game, running the clock as best as they can. And an unfortunate turnover there gives the ball over to Rise and Grind. And we're just gonna have a look at how both of these teams, of course, coming off of yesterday's game, how they've made the adjustments, what they're going to be working on, and how they're going to be working to overcome any of the issues that they may have faced yesterday. And as we see here, Rise and Grind moving the ball around, getting that ball across the way into the hands of DJ Campbell, but the first basket attempt doesn't connect, and MBB are back down the floor. Javan Peter sets the screen. He's open on the line. He takes his shots. In rhythm for Peter Prinsloo as he collects the first 3 points for MBB in this game. And of course, Kevin seems to be giving up the ball a little earlier today. Woo! And that was strung very well there by the Rise and Grind player. And I think something that we're going to witness is the intensity of defense and the changes made by Rise and Grind, of course. Saquon not giving David any space to work, but he didn't connect and he actually lost the ball over the baseline. And I think something we witnessed yesterday, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it and are going to be ready to witness Saquon's dominance as a big player. He might be undersized against some of our bigger guys, but he definitely has the chest to take that kind of pressure. Kevin with the floater over Dave. Saquon with the rebound. He's able to collect 2 of the rebounds, but not able to make the connection. Ooh. And they were unsuccessful on those attempts. They had 3 open opportunities to get the ball there, and Javon pushing the score up to 6 points, and it is a 3-point baskets so far that have put the teams on the board. DJ with the ball. He goes around the screen, pulls up. Ooh, and he finally finds it for the Rise and Grind squad. And at this point, we're going to be trading threes, it seems, as well as something witnessed yesterday, a trade of baskets. There's that battle again between David and Saquon. He pops it out to Omar. Nothing on that one. Kevin for the open shot, and he makes that one to go. And of course, like I said, it's 3-point shooting right now. I mean, they're still gonna find their rhythm, find the way inside to the rim, just as Nino has done there. And it was a little too open, I would say, if you were looking at the defense there. But again, it's still the beginning of the game, and we're still gonna see a lot more from both of these teams going into this. Passes the ball out. Saquon with the 3. Still anybody's game at this point, and first time attempts going in. David loses the ball to Saquon, and like I said, it's going to be a big man battle down there for the 2 of them. DJ with the shot, long range. And I think all cylinders are going for DJ Campbell, as he's already got 2 out of 3 shots from the 3-point line, and he's clearly feeling it today. Woo! Omar goes all the way, finds David, slams it down. And that is definitely going to be a confidence boost for him, you know, being able to connect with the rim at this point. Backdoor is open, but unfortunately wasn't able to connect with it. Nino quickly down the floor for MBB. Peter Prinsloo. Nino's got the open shot, man, and it doesn't connect for him, but I would trust him to take that shot any given day. DJ believes that he's got it, and he actually got fouled on that one, and he will be going to the free throw line for 3, as he was unfortunately fouled on that look. DJ Campbell's on the line there for Rise and Grind. Unable to convert all of his free throws, but he was able to get one of them. Javon Mooring is going to find an open teammate on the line. He finds that in Omar, but he was unable to. He was looking to give the ball to David on the inside, but not able to connect for that one. And we've got a substitution happening in the first, on the first side right now, on MBB side, where we witness Tafel Leonard Jr. coming in for Omar. And that is another interesting player, I would say, from the MBB roster. He came in yesterday and he wanted to play immediately upon landing here, and he was really excited to play, and he definitely showed his excitement yesterday in his performance. Amazing highlight reel coming in from him and in the dunk, and if you have time, go back onto the Basketball Sheriff page and give that a look. MBB have definitely turned things up as they've picking up the defensive man in the backcourt already, full court pressing. And Javon is going up against Kevin. Kevin goes around two players. One step drive, and he makes good on that 2-point shot. Kevin Blaylock. Ooh! Almost got his hands on that one, and they need to be careful with this. They are expecting the passes, especially once they've put up that full court pressure. And what you will notice, ooh, MBB caught unaware on the shot clock, and they unfortunately ran their shot clock down. But it does give them an opportunity to stop the game and make a substitution on the floor, as we see Nkosinati Sibanyoni stepping onto the floor for David Craig. Now, of course, Nkosinati Sibanyoni, again, another star-studded member of the MBB team. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see great things from them. Defensive pressure has kept them all the way winding down the shot clock. Saquon with the rebound, patiently waits it out, but doesn't get the foul call. He did look to the ref, questioning why he didn't get that, and with that question, he has been given a technical foul for chatting to the ref. So that will be sending Javon Mooring to the free throw line for MBB. And Coach Chuck there just talking about having to be aware and looking at the clock and the time. The one thing I will commend MBB on, and it is on their offensive side, they do run through their plays and their screens very well, trying to get the open man. DJ takes the shot, unable to connect with it this time. As Leonard Jr. finds Selepos on the outside, Peter Prinsloo from the elbow, good, and he collects those 3 points, breaking the little bit of a scoring deficit for MBB, and he's pushed it only to a 2-point difference for them. Was Nati with the rebound, but unfortunately, like I said, these passes are expected. And what a block by Leonard there. patiently waiting that man out and collecting on the other side. Javon Mooring is there to reward him for a spectacular play from defense to offense, and they take the lead with 1 point over Rise and Grind. Kevin not able to connect. Ooh, loose hands. It's getting a little risky with the passing now. Laydell, he sets himself up for a 3-point collection there for Rise and Grind. And if you are new to the game or you're new to this matchup, it is going to continue to be a trade of baskets all the way through until the end, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that it speaks well to the kind of competition that MBB gets to face here today, as on their road to preparing, of course, for the BAL. So I think we're especially glad for this kind of opportunity and experience that is being brought, because, you know, that's some clean-cut basketball we're witnessing. And something they should definitely not be doing is falling asleep on the offense, and this is something that MBB will look to capitalize on. And in a moment of stop game, we have some substitutions on the floor. New faces stepping onto the court. Devon Pache, they're picking up the player. Tevin Bishop for Rise and Grind. Ooh! And they really fell asleep on what's going on. And there is actually some contest coming in from the MBB gentlemen. Kevin Mateo there, stop, pop, beautifully taken shot, and I think that is definitely within rhythm, and he knows his game. So the discussion right now is a contest against what happened on the last play. There was confusion because they are saying there were more than the necessary players on the floor. And in this moment here, the confusion was that there was still a Rise and Grind player after the substitutions that happened. And that so the final decision there is that the coaching staff will receive a technical foul, and that sends Selepe to the free throw line. Unable to connect on that technical foul given there. Full court as Deshaun taking on Neo Mutiba. Neo Mutiba, no, former SA captain and of course veteran South African player. Ooh. And it is getting heated. It's just, there are quite a few calls that are just stopping the game in. Oh, and I do see what the ref was calling, the travel. Oh no. Ooh, and he got around him, finds a man on the outside, laid down. And it's drive, dish. And everybody's just a little too excited to get to the rim as another travel gets called. Lebisa Selepe in the 58 jersey for MBB, team captain, and of course again very familiar with the BAL. Gosanati sets him up, pick and roll, finds Leonard, who goes all the way and slams it down the throat. Yes, he goes. Oh, that was quite a display of athleticism, and I think we did see that yesterday. He can get up at the top of the game. Woo. Active hands too, as he's able to get the ball out of his hands. Neo Motiba all the way up in TJ's face. And the clock is winding down, so they're running it out so they can get that last shot, but it doesn't happen. And that is the end of the first quarter, ladies and gentlemen. What a thriller in the first quarter. And I think that if you are not excited, I don't know what you're looking for, but I absolutely am. And that was quite the nail biter in the first quarter. MBB ending it off on 18 points and Rise and Grind sitting with 21. Of course, we will be back for the second quarter and I'll be bringing you all the action. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the second quarter, and you know what, like I said, this event is so hot. I had to bring in a guest, and I had to bring someone who's going to help me talk the game of basketball. Of course, the gentleman next to me is
Sensei Juice, the father of the girls, Angel Melody, a brother to basketball and all things good, including that hip-hop, of course. And right now, what a pleasure to be in the house on this chill evening, but looking forward to the heat that we're already seeing on the floor.
Of course, I'm absolutely honored to have you with me, Sensei, in the booth today. And yeah, let's talk basketball.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we do all day, every day.
You know? So, the one thing that definitely changed from yesterday is nobody's waiting for anybody on offense. Everybody's picking up somebody in the backcourt, and that the point guard's having to work, you know?
And definitely, because one of the things that we've seen in the past two games, you know, the game between Super Elite as well as the game between Rise and Grind and MBB yesterday, they took some time sizing each other up, and which is one of the reasons why the game was tied through three quarters. So right now, because this is the last game of the trip, they definitely want to take it to each other. So let's see how this will pan out.
A lot of defensive changes happening, offensive. Woo! Nati for the, doesn't get that one to fall. It would have been quite the offensive play between the MBB gents there.
You love the pace, you love to see it, and we are seeing a high flyer there, you know, foul called on the floor. But again, the intensity is quite high, and guys are definitely going at each other. So we are looking forward to seeing how this will pan out all the way to halftime.
If you want to know what a hooper is, this gentleman right here, Tefao Leonard Jr. He is quite the baller.
Literally getting off the plane yesterday, and he was ready to play.
Hey, he
quite enjoyed myself there.
He came to play. He arrived here and he was ready and he was excited. He said, "Hey, I want a ball."
You love to see it. You love to see a gentleman coming and knowing that he's ready to take it all in and take it all and bring it onto the floor. So these have been a few good moments that we are seeing of him, and looking forward to seeing more and more as they get into Baal and all things. Timeout called on the floor.
And just to give everybody a heads up, by next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe the team will be flying and making their way to Kigali, because of course the first matchup of the BAL will be on the 17th of May. There goes that man.
You love to see the ball movement and the confidence that the guys are showing on the floor.
They do look set in their plays. They do look comfortable in their plays, like you say. And the one thing I noticed that they run through the screens, they execute what they're looking for on the floor, and I think that they reward themselves, of course, with the basket at the end of it, but it really does take the whole momentum of the team on the floor to get to that point.
And through all things, those are definitely the signs that you want to see as they prepare for the big stage, that the sets are being executed, there's communication on the floor, the intangibles are being displayed, so you love to see it.
And here's a matchup that I think is something also to watch, which was Kevin and Devon. And Kevin is quite the defender as a point guard, and he showed us yesterday that he's not afraid to take it to anybody, actually.
And as a shooter as well, shot the lights out the other night. And
yeah, he did.
Yeah, looking like a splash brother there.
Ooh, that's another splash brother. I will give it to him. DJ Campbell, and especially, look, if you've watched his games, you know where his spots are at this point. That left elbow, golden.
Came all the way to South Africa and found himself a sweet home on the court, and he's definitely looking good from that sweet spot.
Love the defensive intensity, and MBB switch there so that Neo Mutiba's on Kevin, and still Kevin is able to walk away with the ball. Great awareness by that.
Great awareness, and that's where when you're playing defense and you are running 1.5 men, when you are thinking that, okay, you beat your man, but there's a shadow that's there on help defense, and that's what we saw there, and that's what you would like to see on defense from any team.
I especially like what the impact of this tour brings to the South African basketball market. Of course, this is the kind of talent we wish we could witness and see every other day, and we could get the experience of going up against. And of course, this is a preparatory tour for MBB itself. They have a mission on hand, but I like the fact that Super Elite was also included, and that gave them an opportunity, because like they said, what their mission was with that initial game was to pace themselves against an American team and see what the difference in talent and how much work they've got to put behind that, to give themselves a chance in the road to BAL next season.
Absolutely, and you love it for a team like Super Elite, who have just recently, they're literally the babies in our landscape, but they've done so well, winning a few tournaments, and I mean, to get the nod and have a experienced coach like Coach Flosh managing the team, it speaks volumes in terms of what Cecil and the crew are looking to do there at Super Elite. So hats off to them, and definitely something very good to see and size themselves up against such good competition. Good looking step back there by Peter, but he couldn't finish the shot.
I'll tell you one thing, if Peter had taken that on the opposite side of the 3-point line, I rate it would have gone in.
100%, because I think that step back just took a bit of his power off the shot, but had he been a bit closer, definitely we would have had a better result.
And I see that chest bump there by DJ to Kevin, and that was definitely needed, because that last play, Kevin all the way to the rim, that was fresh. There he is. Woo. So coming out of that timeout, I do think that MBB might have needed that just to kind of go back to the drawing board, rework on some things, because thus far in this quarter they've only scored one basket. They've got actually one free throw, 1 point, while Rise and Grind have scored 5. So it's going to be something to look at. They've been on a bit of a scoring drought, so let's see how they correct that.
Very necessary for the coach to recalibrate his team and to just make sure that they keep laying on, the instruction. So it's always very good. Unfortunately, coming out of that timeout, they were not able to execute, getting a stop by a Rise and Grind, but fortunately stepped out of bounds and ball possession back to MBB.
And the men in black are already waiting for MBB in the front court. And again, it just speaks to that defensive intensity that they're willing to bring to the floor right now.
Not allowing them to have any comfort in setting up plays, so meeting them halfway just to confuse a bit of their structure.
Ooh. And as much as the shot clock was running out on that, DJ did get in on the block there. But I think it's been a drought on both sides. Both teams are unable to connect and score.
Possession there, back to MBB. Exchanging some pleasantries there because there was a feeling that Nati might have had the last touch, but the refs definitely giving it to MBB.
And as much as the last touch is questionable, unfortunately they still are not able to connect. And this is kind of the stalemates that we actually witnessed yesterday. A lot of the times it was when the score was even, but right now both teams are unable to connect on baskets.
And I think more than all else, coach will be looking to see what are some of his best combinations. However, it would be to their detriment if they look to settle too much for the outside shot. It was a good thing to see David Craig driving on the previous possession, even though he got blocked. But you want to see that from your guards. Some confusion there and a quick steal for DJ as he makes another basket on the inbound.
Now he's a player who does not fall asleep, and he's making sure that he's in all of the spaces. He has his hands up. He's looking for that ball. He wants the heat. Woo! He makes good on that one.
He is catching heat. At this point, the entire arena, another possession lost for MBB.
He's going for it.
Oh!
All right, DJ. All right, DJ. Yes, that timeout is called for you.
At this point, everybody in this arena may needs to get close to DJ to catch some of that heat, to get warm.
Keep us warm. Keep us warm. I think the last 10 baskets all came from DJ. Okay, no. That's the start of the momentum.
Some confusion there. Committing the biggest crime in looking away from the ball on an inbound play.
And this is a different kind of momentum that we're witnessing here. This is the biggest lead they've held against MBB in both of these two games. And let's see how, again, the adjustments are going to be made. The last time on was taken about 6 minutes, and no changes have actually happened on the MBB side of things. They have been sitting scoreless since then. And again, they really need to find themselves. And maybe it is a combination phase, but let's see what comes out onto the floor now.
Absolutely. And as for coach, I think the biggest thing is, guys, stay dialed in. We cannot afford to have any mental lapses at any point of this game. And again, out of the timeout, and their ball is given away, and here comes Rise and Grind.
Lob. Ooh. He anticipated that lob quite well. Eagerly, and I think when you catch the ball and you already move forward and before you caught it.
There we go. Nice drive there, nice finish by DC.
And that breaks the spell for MBB, and I hope that it's going to mean a difference in the last 3.5 minutes of this half. Rise and Grind moving the ball. Lydell, another prominent player on their side, on their roster. I had some chats with Coach Chuck, and he was telling me about Lydell and his experience. He's played in Mexico. He was in Mexico last summer. He's got some G League and NBA Summer League experience as well. So he's a senior and a leader on the Rise and Grind side.
And that's the type of competition you want to play against if you're MBB, because that is exactly what's going to give you proper preparation for your next phase of your movements.
And I mean, I know that CV is something that gets spoken of quite a lot, and you know, once you start hearing names like G League being dropped, you consider the caliber of the player that you're facing. And in the BAL, that is not something we are unfamiliar with. Of course, those are the kind of things that...
Technical foul there called
against Saquon Jameson.
I wonder what he may have said or did to earn himself.
Yeah. So it's something we witnessed in the first game, and I think it's a cultural difference in basketball where in contesting for the ball, there's maybe a little excessive, demonstration from the defensive player. And on that last play, I saw him duck beneath Nino. So if he was taking the shot, the run under as opposed to the flyby, yeah. And they also received a technical for that on Tuesday. And that had come from clapping hands on a closeout. So those are the kind of differences where the Americans looked at us like, why would you call that? But on our side, we understand that those are the kind of things we don't do around here. So
very interesting, because I think it also speaks on the dynamic of the game, where on the American end there would be more of the NBA style officiating, and then there's the FIBA, the international FIBA style of refereeing than for the rest of the world. So it's something that some of the young guns would also have to learn within their growth in the game.
I do like the pick and roll action MBB has shown us, especially in creating the mismatch. So once that pick and roll happens, I mean, Nati was able to get the guy inside. The ball didn't go to him, but it would have been a good look if it had.
Absolutely.
TJ with the ball against Selepe, spins back. All right. I think we all understand what we're seeing, right? That guy.
I had to try and dig deep into my glossary to find the right word for that, right? But wow, what a beauty.
And he went hard to the floor. We heard that all the way up here. Yeah, but he's got handles there.
Does.
That was a good take. Definitely a good take for Javon Mooring. Man press there by MBB, but DJ is able to get around that. Ball is in Lydell's hands. He takes the shot from the top. And he makes two.
Top of the key will always yield the sweeter spots.
And a two-man pressure in the trap there is definitely putting on that defensive intensity. And this has been an interesting quarter, eh? It's definitely different to what we witnessed yesterday, but Rise and Grind are on fire. They came with an agenda. I think they did not like the loss yesterday. Nobody does. And this seems personal.
Absolutely, because again, that's one of those things where any good coach or every good team will always adjust, and that's what you're seeing in the playoffs, that you are playing more than one game against the team. So you must always be able to adjust yourself and make sure that you bring more intensity for the next game. And these gentlemen have definitely adjusted, and DJ is at this moment looking to be the mayor of Mandeville.
No, he's done a very good job of positioning himself, with that title. There's that full court again. Nothing for free. Yeah, you still got it. You do.
So let's just hope that will allow him to spark and inspire his shot going forward, because he's just seen one go in.
Sometimes all a shooter needs is to find that one time, and then it's all systems go.
Absolutely.
Makes good on his first free throw. And he does well to collect both of his free throws on the line. Devon picks up Kevin Lydell. What a beautiful combination. You see how they ran down the floor, point guard behind the big, and the defense can't actually move around it. He can't do anything. Hey. And the one thing I've witnessed is that each of these athletes have an impressive skill set in terms of being able to handle the ball, take on the pressure in front of the man, and you can just see he can rock, he can rock with it. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the first half. MBB sitting with 30 points, and the runaway team, Rise and Grind, sitting with 46 points, a comfortable 16-point lead. But of course, there is a whole 20 more minutes of this game, and we are still going to witness some greatness coming into this. Catch you on the other side. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the mission and the assignment for MBB, of course, is the Nile Conference, which they will be going to by next week. The first game will be on the 17th. Through to the 25th of May, and this is why we're here. We're here to help MBB prepare for the BAL, and of course you will witness there. That is the schedule, the full tournament, the full conference schedule. It's a double round robin. Of course, the top two automatically qualify, and at third place will have an opportunity to qualify for the finals, of course, which will be coming back to South Africa. So of course we want to see our gentlemen go to Kigali and come back to come and play in SA, and this is why we're here.
Of course, what an incredible moment in time for basketball on our tournament, on our continent, to see such great talent and such great basketball happening on the continent. And what an incredible moment in time for South Africa to be hosting this year's finals.
And you know what? It gives me so much pride, because the fact that they brought the finals to South Africa is a testament to our spirit. It's a testament to how we showed up last year at the Kalahari, and you can't take that away from us.
I mean, you know, the atmosphere was absolutely electric from the start to the finish of the tournament. We showed out.
And our appreciation is definitely in the fact that they're bringing the finals home. So let's witness the heat and the intensity of this second half, and let's see what MBB has gone to the drawing board to fix. He should have taken that on the first time he had a look at the rim. Definitely shouldn't be doubting himself, that being Nino Dim. Lydell takes that shot. He's unable to connect. MBB are back down the floor again. We haven't scored a basket thus far in this quarter, and it's going to be interesting to see who scores the first.
Game after the whistle from the ref. Game after the whistle from the ref. Not sure what was the call there. But one of the things, to your point about Kevin making that drive and taking that floater, you know, it has been said that one of the things that you can do as a guard is to go amongst the trees and kill their spirit with a floater. And that's exactly what he looks to do.
No, he definitely knows how to get to what he needs and to provide that for the team. And he collects 2 of 2 at the free throw line. And he started the scoring momentum for Rise and Grind in this quarter. Omar tried to go all the way, but he got stopped. David goes up against Lydell. Unfortunately, wait, ooh, and he's able to then collect those 2. He actually jammed it down. It doesn't look like he has to jump far, but he does have to throw it down.
The important part is his composure to stay with the ball and to make sure that he gains control up all the way until he finished. So that was a good sign there for David.
And I think there's the game changer for MBB. And it sits in Leonard Jr.'s hands. He can shift, he can pick up the momentum for them, and that's what he's done right now.
And that moments like that are what is going to help you shift your momentum on defense, because now you know that you can get the stop and get the leaks for those breaks. Another foul called there on the drive on Peter.
Yosne Kobas going all the way there for the Rise and Grind, and he's got an and one play there, but not able to connect on the free throw. Ooh.
Another interception there by Rise and Grind. Put back there, but couldn't finish.
And I think there's, not to say desperation, but there's a little bit of panicking, excessive fouling that's happening on the MBB side of things. Of which, look, basketball's a game of runs, and if you can play yourself through that, you understand that the other team is also on the floor to score. So of course they've got to do their thing, but it should sit on your own shoulders, to make sure for your team to be scoring, because the difference is that MBB hasn't been converting.
And the other thing is that it's the fouling is as a result of some of the frustration coming from the turnovers, because we've seen how a turnover can frustrate your teammates, and you end up just being so frustrated on the defensive end that you commit those fouls. But you are absolutely right. It's very important that they keep their composure and then they keep their heads in the game. Devon and Nati back on the floor.
And let's see the kind of changes that they're making. Peter on the line, gives it over to Omar. Still looking to get inside. Shot clock, unfortunately, runs all the way down. And the rise and grind defense is worth noting. They do switch on everything, but it's also awareness in those switches, because it gives them the time where they don't have to recover. You already see it coming, so we know what we're doing. And it's actually kept them in the faces of MBB for a lot longer than what you would expect to see.
There's great anticipation, communication and movement, which confuses the MBB offense and definitely earns them those stops. So great defense there by Rise and Grind.
Peter Prinsloo, who is actually going to be making a return trip to Kigali, of course. He has just come back from playing in Rwanda, in the Rwandan League, for one of their Rwandan teams, and it's going to be interesting. So he's now going back, obviously, with the MBB team as a South African team, going back to face and see the guys that he's been playing against.
And his experience is absolutely invaluable for MBB because of everything that he's gained. Playing through South America, playing for the Cape Town Tigers in different seasons of the BAL. So his experience will be definitely of utmost importance for MBB. Definitely a big asset for us.
And of course, once we start talking about assets and let's say South African, non-South African, let's talk about the BAL roster. The BAL roster obviously composed of 12 guys, but on that roster you need 7 local players and 5 internationals, and that's your allowance. And of course you look at that and you start counting in terms of who's going to make the roster, who's going to be going to Kigali. And though the team is not set yet, there are some players who are still going to be coming in for MBB. We will get our final look, of course, who's going when they leave for Kigali next week.
And those 7 South Africans, those are the pieces that we will be looking at and seeing and hoping that we take the best out of the best that we possibly can. Because if you look at the BAL and how everything is structured, one of the things that you see in most of the teams in different countries is that a core of their local players are national team players for their respective countries. So
correct.
As well, coming and talking about MBB, you'll be hoping to see, as we see that great crossover, and he cannot finish though, Devon. You want to see that the 7 players that you are taking, they form core part of your national team at the end of the day. As he shot that all the way from Calcutta.
Hey, long range. Where they from? Rhode Island.
He shot that from the Cadillacs. Sheesh.
Oh, all right. Not able to connect, but your board man, your official BAL board man, is there for the cleanup job, and he's able to put 2 more points on the board for MBB.
And you will hope to continue to see how Nati Sibanyoni will continue to grow in this season's edition of BAL as DJ, your boy,
doing what he's been doing. At
The
this
mayor.
point, doing what he's known for.
The mayor of Mandeville.
Peter Prinsloo, thank you for the reply. Shots are fired back.
And now, on that rebuttal, to your point earlier in the first half, he was missing a bulk of his shots on the opposite hoop, and now he seems to be a bit more comfortable on this end of it. So let's see if this will be a beginning maybe of some shots starting to fall for him.
Tevin Bishop is on the point guard position right now for Rise and Grind, giving Kevin Mateo a rest, able to go and sit on the bench for a bit. He's done a good job, of course, thus far.
Of course, we just saw a block there from Neo Mutiba on the opposite end to start the offensive run for us, but MBB could not finish on that as Rise and Grind brings it again back up.
Rise and Grind still dribbling it out, figuring it out. Lydell goes up. Ooh. But he did get stopped. Devon goes all the way. Oh,
Devon can't finish there, but good rebound by Silepe Lebisa. Ball goes out of bounds. Looks like Rise and Grind retains possession.
Wait.
and the ball is in the hands of Deshaun, who is now bringing it up for Rise and Grind. And of course, it's now a defensive battle. Maintain. Okay. That would have been quite the move. He didn't finish on that. And here comes that man again. Unable to connect. But
we are seeing a lot of missed layups there, but good to see that there's always an extra man to follow through. As we see a drive there, and he finishes and will be going to the charity stripe for
tough.
the old school three-point play.
That was tough. There by TJ Jackson. That was a very tough play because he had two guys who were actually trying to close him off from getting to the rim.
Strong finish. Just as we were giving some praise to MBB, that there's always an extra man to get the rebound and put back on the rebound. But on the opposite end, there was a little resistance for Jackson as he misses on the charity stripe.
And we've got about 2.5 minutes left of this third. And again, we are obviously still looking to see some changes coming in from MBB, some momentum shift, some gear shifting, kicking it up a little bit. But with Selepe able to draw the foul there, let's hope that something is going to come from it. He is going to the free throw line, so he will be taking two.
Certainly, because for coach, he'll definitely want to see and explore his roster to get as much insight as possible on some of the combinations. But of course, there will be work that's been done in hindsight as Silepe goes 1 for 2 from the charity stripe. Travel called there as possession goes back to MBB.
Sibanyoni with the ball, gives it over to Javon, who's back on the floor for MBB. And okay, I think there is a bit of shift. They're definitely picking up a lot more contact now. So they're taking advantage of the lane, and that might just change things for them.
And of course, the more you do that, it will certainly start opening up the floor for you to enable the shooters to also now come into play and see if they can get some open looks for execution. Misses the first one from the free throw and makes the second. MBB now have definitely upped the intensity on the defense, as now we see them putting on the full court press, getting a stop, and Sibanyoni finishing there. Another stop by MBB. And once again, and one, MBB have definitely upped their defensive intensity to now.
Yes, that was the momentum shift we were talking about. Something has occurred, and it's good to see. It's good to see.
Very good to see, especially the execution on some of those stops. You know, making sure that they are fruitful. As he goes to the free throw line for one more.
And he's able to collect that one. You know, they're chipping away at this lead slowly but surely, and I think that this full court press, because it's a very, very strong one. 3 guys in the front court, but of course the point guard, Kevin Mateo, is able to get that ball across the line.
Gets it across the line, and the name of the game is composure. You've got 2 guys in front of you, but you keep going and you keep commanding your team and making sure that the spacing is right.
And in fact, MBB has been in foul trouble since the last foul, which was, it occurred at about between 2 to 3 minutes, but they will be sending Rise and Grind to the free throw line for the rest of this quarter. Kevin missing the first of his 2. He makes good on the second one. And we have a substitution happening as Nino Dim comes on for Leonard Jr. I do believe Leonard Jr. has picked up quite a few fouls. He should be sitting at about 3. So with a full quarter still to play and his contribution to the floor, you actually want to make sure that he's not approaching fourth with four fouls.
Absolutely, because as a coach, you definitely want to make sure that some of your secret weapons are available at crunch time to see if you can put this game away. Should you still be able to chip away at this deficit? So it's a good substitution to just let the men breathe and then hopefully be back to allow them to finish the game.
And a foul, a charge called, in fact, against Rise and Grind.
The statesman there, Neo Mutiba, putting his body on the line, of course, to get that stop there. It's always good to see when your veterans are able to make such commitments and sacrifices on the floor, and that is something that will surely inspire some of the young men in on the team to also still keep doing their bit.
You've got to be careful with those passes. It is, I mean, we all know basketball, so sometimes when you see something set up, you can see we're on a full court press, you're going to try and press break, this is where the pass is going, so they've got to be careful because Rise and Grind is able to anticipate quite well.
Definitely, they have shown that within their defensive sets, they've got a lot of great anticipation, and there's Sibanyoni once again gets a rebound and puts it back to add 2 more on the board for MBB.
And they are chipping away slowly but surely. It's only 15. Never mind. Sure. What a dunk by Kevion Blaylock.
He has just indicated to us why he's wearing jersey number 23.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious, he caught some air. Woo!
No, that was skillful. That was skillful.
He reminds me of a young sensei.
Okay, yes.
In my youth, I may have put a few people on some posters back in my good days.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a pity that in my youth
there was no
basketball sheriff.
Yeah. But we thank you, basketball sheriff, because of course now that Blaylock can go and put that back on his poster.
Now we are witnessing.
And the ball is back in the trusted hands of Kevin. Oh, okay. It was a great look, but Newo did see it. Good hands from Nino goes up.
Can't finish there, but a foul called.
No, well, that was well deserved because he was contested. No, definitely. Yeah, there he was fouled. And again, sometimes you just don't want that momentum shift, because moments like that, dunks like that, can change a whole game purely because of just the impact of what it brings to the floor.
Absolutely, and I mean, it can send the commentators into hysteria as well.
That is so true. That is true. You know, and it's difficult to watch teammates, because I mean, Nino is a teammate of mine, 3x3 of course, and you know, when you see that happening, you're just like, it's almost a natural reaction to the game.
It's absolutely beautiful, because that is exactly a very great element of the game.
I do believe Kevin is dribbling out. The time clock is at about 10 seconds. Doesn't get that to go. So Nino's back down the floor. He finds Selepe. Stops. Pops.
Can't finish there, Silepe, and Sibanyoni's putback is called a no basket because it came right after the whistle.
It is good to see that. It would have been, of course, a good putback. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the third quarter. They've kept, of course, they've kept us on our toes. They've kept it going. And MBB are sitting at 51 points while Rise and Grind is sitting at 67. We've got one more quarter to go. Can't wait to see it. We are back for the fourth and final quarter of this electrifying matchup. And of course, an electrifying week it's been. Javon takes that shot. Doesn't get that to go. Rise and Grind are back down the floor.
Absolutely an electrifying week it has been, because again, it has given us a very tremendous opportunity to see MBB take to the floor before they depart to their big assignment out in Kigali. So you definitely love to see the moment. You definitely love to see how they will fare once they get to the Nile Conference. So we are looking forward to a strong finish of the quarter of this game as we see yet another turnover on the floor. Kevin bringing it up.
We've seen players, we've seen people bring a ball up, but I can definitely say that is a floor general. He knows how to get his guys into the momentum, doing the right thing, and making the call. Whew. All right, Blaylock, we see you.
Man, reminds me of Teddy Pendergrass in my time, right now.
Yep.
I feel like I can just lace up, and I must speak to Cyril and the fellas there at MBB to see if they need a PowerPoint forward guard.
Yeah.
I might just make the trip out to Kigali as well.
Alright, so he collects one of two. And Rise and Grind are in their full court press again.
That's better ball movement and some good execution there.
He rewards the team for their patience and their ball movement. That is Leonard Jr. again, like we said, a monumental player for the MBB side right now. He's able to bring it onto the floor and switch it up and build some of that momentum that they need.
Absolutely.
Ooh, what a find. And he throws it down.
Nati had to make a business decision there to get out of the way before he ended up on a poster. And again, that just shows good patience, ball movement, and great execution there by Rise and Grind.
Peter on his spot. Doesn't get that to go. Nati with the rebound. And that was unexpected because he looked like he would have gotten that. He looked so open. But you know, basketball, Mats, the hardest layup is the open one.
100%, because you're just so surprised at yourself that I know I just got the rebound, but am I really open? You know? And once again, I know I just drove all the way to the hoop, but am I really open?
Right? No, basketball is such a mental game, and it will make you question some of the most simplest things, some of the things that you know you've done at practice, but somehow, all of a sudden, in the same game, nothing.
And once again, baseline dunk, drive, cut, receive, dunk. And once again, it's patience. Patience and movement.
And there's another shift in momentum, because as much as we notice momentum shifts that pick up, we also need to note, you know, the downs when it comes to this, because those are now 3 back-to-back dunks by Rise and Grind.
3 back-to-back dunks in the quarter. Another steal by Kevin. Pass.
And at this point, Rise and Grind are able to kind of just move the ball around, not to say carelessly, but almost more relaxed. They're relaxed in their movements. There's no rush, so there's no urgency. You know, with DJ, he even passed an extra pass when he had an open look there.
Definitely MBB needs to pull together a great strong finish so that they also can have a lot of good things to take away from this entire tour. Not just this game, but this entire tour, because from here on, it is the big leagues, and you definitely want to finish this strong with the complement or the opposition that you currently have on the other end.
So Nkosnati is on the line. Collects the first free throw.
One of the bright stars continuing to grow on the continent, Mr. Sibanyoni. And of course, he still holds the rebounds record for BAL at 24 rebounds in a single game. One of the big feats and one of the things that tells you just the caliber of talent that we have in our country. It can only get better.
All RSA, guys, and it's a beautiful thing to see. It's like the conversation we had earlier today when even with the crew, where I told them that David Craig is South African. They're like, what? Yes. That giant? And I was like, yes, he is. He's born and bred South African, and it just speaks to the potential of South Africa and the road that we have in front of it. And it's quite clear, and if we put ourselves in the positions to invest in what we have, you know, to be in these kind of situations, South Africa has so much potential, and the road is looking bright for us.
Absolutely. I mean, at the age of 21, and he's that size, it just tells you that how many more players we do have like him in the country. Yeah. You know, and a country that is so a country that's so big on rugby, for instance. You know, basketball loses a lot of players to rugby. And imagine once we are at a great trajectory for the sport, the level of talent we can retain and the international, presence that we can have.
Absolutely true. And of course, if we could take the kind of experience that rugby has and the size and the potential, and we start putting that into basketball, my goodness. Come the Olympics, come 2036, which South Africa is bidding for, we would have a spot in the Olympics if that were to happen, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to start looking into things like that. 2036, the Olympics might be coming to South Africa.
Start building.
And if anybody wants to know what that's going to look like, I mean, 2036 is 10 years away from now. So if you're looking at prime basketball age, you're sitting at that the 26 to 32 age range. And those people right now are actually what, 18 to 25, essentially. So the guys who would one day represent us at the Olympics would be the guys in high school, senior high school right now. Entry-level university, colleges, international, local. The road is there for us, and it's something we really need to understand, conceptualize, and push.
And I think with that, a big shout out to coaches like Floss and Craig Gilchrist. They were coaching the under-18 national team during the recent AFCON tournament, which was held at Tuks.
Yeah.
And now it speaks to that under-18 team is exactly where we should be investing, because these are the very young men and women who would be suiting up for the national team in 10 years' time.
Yes, absolutely. They'd only be about, 28, 26, 7?
Absolutely.
That is what we're looking at.
Most def. And one of my messages during that tournament was that, my prayer is that the game keeps them together and growing, together, because if you retain that talent as a country, it tells you exactly where you can be growing from under 18 all the way to senior level. So you definitely wish and pray for that as a country, for any sporting coach. Some conversations happening on the floor with the refs, with the crew chief conferring with Table. Not sure what the remonstrations or inquiries may be about them. It would be interesting to find out what the coach is inquiring. I don't want to necessarily say remonstrate, because it looks like an easy conversation or an inquiry to crew chief Foster there.
Jovan Moore makes his first free throw. And he makes good on his second one. That's a perfect trip for him on this attempt at the free throw line. Kevin Mateo, shifty!
Takes it all the way to the cup, just can't finish. And of course, as with the FIBA rules, a ref can definitely take a second or two before finalizing that call, as did Priscilla do in that moment, where she had to just make sure of what she was seeing before making the call.
And that actually puts Leonard on 4 fouls. Like I'd mentioned in the third, that he was close to being in foul trouble. He now has 4 with 5 minutes to go. So that's going to be a very tricky situation for him. A tricky situation for MBB and the coaching staff, because they've got to figure how they're going to manage that.
Indeed, because now, as we always say, crunch time is munch time. And that is where you want your eaters to be on the floor to make sure that they put the game away.
Okay, great ball movement to get over the full court press by MBB.
Sbanyoni there on the drive. Getting fouled on the drive there. Ball out of bounds. And drive there and finish.
I think Rise and Grind is also playing carefully, because they are on 4 fouls. So there was a bit more stepping back off of that, allowing him to get to the rim.
And of course, Rise and Grind still holding a 15-point lead there with 5 minutes to go.
Ball movement. TJ takes the lane, and he gets his 2 points from that drive.
Once again showing that he's not just about shooting from the outside. He can drive and floated over our trees.
Kosinati with the mismatch on Kevin. But the help is very quickly there, but they are obviously a little over eager and they foul. And that will solidly put them in foul trouble, and that gives them 5 fouls thus far. MBB should capitalize on that. I mean, they've got ample opportunities to keep going to the free throw line at this point.
100%, and it looks like Rise and Grind was baiting him there, putting Kevin on him as a primary defender. And while maybe everyone is thinking it's a mismatch, but already the help defense is right there,
setting him up.
So that is another good recognition there by Rise and Grind. So whereas there is no such thing as a mismatch.
Collects 1 out of 2 of his free throws. Kevin attacking.
Very little resistance there for Kevin as he smiles on his way back to defense. You know, surely he appreciates that there was very little resistance as he gets a steal on the other end, but throws it right back to MBB. Dials in from long range there.
Mr. Mooring able to collect 3 for MBB on that one. DJ hands it over to Kevin. It's the double screen behind the back pass for the 3-point shot at the top of the key, and it looks too easy at this point.
It looks too easy because it's a game of execution. You draw the defenders, they follow, and then you know, as Espanyol rebuttals there with a 3-pointer of his own.
And it's that kind of die-hard, you know, intensity, mentality in the game to know that, yes, so what, we're down, we keep going. You know, we keep playing until the end.
You definitely have to run your sets. You definitely want to have your execution, because at the end of the day, it's all about the teachable moments in the game, and that's what you want to take away.
So 2 points are collected by MBB, as that was counted as a goaltending. He did hit the backboard on the shot.
As we see timeout called on the floor for Rise and Grind.
And we're back out of that timeout. Rise and Grind starting with the possession off of that. Kevin, of course, leading the assault. DJ goes in. But a misconnection there between him and TJ will send the ball into the hands of MBB. We've got just under 3 minutes, well, just about 3 minutes left of this matchup. And of course, what we want to see is MBB rise to the occasion. They need to finish strong on this. This whole series was for them. So we really do need to witness something coming out, you know, digging deep and making the best of the situation.
Definitely, MBB needs to rise and grind.
That is definitely true. That is absolutely true.
They need to rise and grind and finish this game strong, because more than anything, we need the signs. We need the teachable moments. We need to see that the sets are there, the combinations are there. So out of all things, finish this game strong.
So Nino Dim is on the free throw line. He was fouled as he was collecting rebound and going back up. Unfortunately, not able to connect. Not able to connect on either of the two. And that's his first trip to the line? Second?
Second trip to the line. Yes.
And I think we've gotten to the point where we're just watching the game, in fact. But Laydell takes the shot from the top of the key over there. Doesn't get that to connect.
I think at this moment, everyone is just holding their breath to see where is the spark coming from.
Yes.
As once again, Kevin gets a steal there. And once again, same side, same man. That combination, drive, dish it to the baseline, and a dunk as he laid it on gently there on this trip.
And he really tried to keep that ball, but he's unable to keep it there.
100%. And I think once again, it's always the entry pass that will always be a tricky one to execute, because the man is running into the lane, and as a big man, Nati tried to find him, but the pass was just a bit high and out of reach.
That floater goes in for number 3, Deshaun.
And once again, the whole aspect of anticipation. He just knew that he's going for a Euro step, and he just closed that lane. Foul called on the floor, and he will be sending him to the charity stripe there. That's a third foul on DJ. Misses his first.
Makes good on the second one, and we have a substitution on the floor. Slepe comes in for Leonard. Kevin once again, of course, bring up the ball for, and he's putting on a display for his ball handling skills, but he gives that over to DJ. Almost loses it, but he tries to find the man in the corner. And I think that even the man in the corner was unexpecting of that, because he could have gone all the way, and to make that extra pass right at the end of all of that.
And we've definitely seen him through different stages of the game, finishing on those drives. And it was rather uncharacteristic, if we may, that he would have passed it out at that point.
And the offense for MBB is drawing down. Devon does get to take the shot. Nati clean-up job.
The board man gets paid. The main man.
And with that foul drawn, he obviously gets to go and check, cash out a little check on the free throw line over there.
And of course, free throws. One of my favorite coaches in the country will always say free throws are not free.
Absolutely
you must still work
true.
for them,
yes.
And make sure that you execute them once you're on that line.
That is so true.
And that is one of the points that we need to be high percentage in our game, because when you get to the international stage, you will be outran, outsized, and your effort will always give you free throws. And that is where you want to make sure that you are as high percentage and as effective as possible.
So that is a shot clock violation, of course. It comes from the fact that Rise and Grind dribbled the ball out on the half, and with under 10 seconds left of this game, I do believe that they're going to call it a wrap. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the third installment of the Rise and Grind tour, and we just witnessed quite a matchup, quite an exhibition of talent and skill. And of course, it is back to the drawing for MBB. They've got a lot to prepare for, but I also think that they've taken away a lot of good insight from this tour, and they'll be going over to Kigali. I think they can keep their heads up and at least, you know, make sure that the mission is still the vision and nothing takes away from that.
And a very good problem for the coach is going to be who is in my final roster. And every coach, I think that's one problem that they look forward to, because if you've got the right talent in your entire roster, then it means that you are going to draw up the X's and O's day and night to make sure that the 12 or the 15 that eventually makes your roster will be the best that you can possibly have on your roster and to go represent the country.
Right. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we were brought to you by Basketball Sheriff. The next time you will be watching MBB will be in Kigali at the Nile Conference. Stay tuned for obviously the ball. Here is the schedule if you need it, and we will be, of course, waiting to witness what MBB will be putting on the floor and who that final 12 will actually be for them. And we will be catching you on the next one. The final game score, of course, was 72 points to MBB and 88 points to the Rise and Grind Talents.
And of course, let me take this moment to once again give a big shout out to the Basketball Sheriff, and also to wish the very best of everything to MBB as they take our flag and fly it all the way to Kigali. Salute, bon voyage, good luck.
And that is a wrap from us. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.